And next we're going to talk about the analytical modeling for what is going on during dual polarization QPSK reception. So this is our way of mapping our optical field to the digital domain. So remember when we looked at the coherent detector for a single polarization, the architecture was something like this. We saw that we had our optical signal in and we had a local oscillator that was here, and this portion in between that combined these signals to go to these two balanced detectors was what we called an optical hybrid. And I'm just going to change my drawing a little bit to make this a little more explicit. So I have an optical hybrid mixer, and input is the modulated data and the local oscillator, two balanced photodetectors, and the output of this allows me to access the in-phase and the quadrature branch of the field in the X polarization. So when we go from single polarization to dual polarization, basically we're just repeating these architectures. So we have one in place for the X polarization, we have an identical one in place for the Y polarization. So at the, let's start with the local oscillator. So the local oscillator is being input here, and it can have a fixed polarization. I can choose, do I want it to be X, do I want it to be Y? I can pick the polarization. In the case of the data, the polarization is not fixed. I know that it's random and fluctuating with time, and so I'm going to have to deal with that. But in terms of how does this integrated receiver work, first thing to do is I am expected to change the polarization of the local oscillator, not to be all of one polarization or all of the other, but instead to have a 45-degree orientation so that both are present. So that if we looked at an analytical representation of the local oscillator, we would have its center wavelength, it would have its phase noise, and then we would have this 45-degree rotation between the two polarizations. Of course, this is our representation for the data, that there's some data on X and there's some data on Y. So what happens when we go into this coherent detector with these two different inputs? Let's first simplify the local oscillator input. We know that cosine of 45 degrees is 1 over the square root of 2. So essentially, I've got a vector of 1s here, and I've got this factor of square root of 2 in front of it from the power. Now, remember that in the case of the data input, don't be confused. This En of X is not the data that was transmitted originally from the transmitter on X. This is not equal to that. This is some mix, that this En is going to have a little bit of each of these signals in it. So, as I said, let's look now at the local oscillator path. We know it's set at 45 degrees at the input, and we notice here that it goes into a beam splitter. A beam splitter simply takes half of the energy power and puts it to each one of the outputs. So that means that this is the equation for what's going into the hybrid mixer on the X and the Y, and I put here the symbol for both polarizations because both polarizations are present, both X and Y. So this choice of a beam splitter and the convention of putting the local oscillator at 45 degrees guarantees that there is uniform coherent gain at all of the outputs. Remember, the signal data might have been attenuated during transmission, during propagation, but the local oscillator is very strong. And so one of the nice aspects of coherent detection is that this strong local oscillator acts as a media for gain. Again, the signal at the output is much stronger if I have a strong local oscillator. So by ensuring that I have both X and Y represented in both arms, I'm keeping the gain that I get from both equal in both polarization paths. Now, if we look at the data path, we see it's not a beam splitter, but instead it's a polarization beam splitter. And so what this input is doing is it's just taking everything from X and it's going to route it over to here, and everything from Y and route it down to here. So it's separating these two. The local oscillator, just put power in both, but this is separating the two, so this is all X polarization, this is all Y polarization. So if we look at the optical field after the hybrid mixer, these would be the equations for the optical field on the X polarization side, something very similar for the Y polarization. And remember that these are incident on two pairs of photodetectors that are two balanced photodetectors. And because of the balanced photodetectors, these equations can be simplified to look at what's coming out in the electrical domain. And this is the set of equations that describes the conversion, and the R is related to the efficiency of the conversions from optical to electrical. So if we look at these equations, you'll see that there's some different angles, and the angles are related to, of course, the difference between the center frequency of the data signal and the local oscillator. If we were doing homodyne detection, this would be 0. And then there's this difference between the local oscillator's phase, which is not data, it's just randomly changing, and the actual X and Y polarization data, which phases, which is really where our data is going to be located. So in conclusion, you can find the equations and the details of this derivation in this tutorial paper. And they will give you all these exact representations for these equations that I put up very briefly in the lecture. And what we need to do next is to still resolve how do we get, now these equations shows that I have isolated this information to be able to access what are these phases. So I know what the phases are, or the amplitudes also. And I have to know, how does this relate to what was actually the data transmitted? So I have to somehow counteract this random and fluctuating polarization, and that is what we'll be doing in digital signal processing.